Coming up on Around Town, what happens when a pest problem goes from minor annoyance to a major infestation?
People have had to get their house jacked up and beams replaced.
Ignorance may be bliss, but ignoring pest activity can lead to some severe consequences.
You're just looking at thousands of dollars worth of expenses to get that stuff fixed.
This is Around Town with Town & Country Pest Solutions. If you want to get ahead of something in the early stages, you might hear the phrase, nip that in the bud. Now, I'm no green thumb, but keeping that saying in mind could help folks save a lot of green down the road when it comes to lingering pest issues. But how could spotting a few carpenter ants inside lead to thousands of dollars in structural damage? For our crew, it's not about scare tactics, but sound advice and preparation for worst-case scenarios when it comes to wood-destroying insects. Let's see what a pro has to say.
Wood-destroying insects are insects that are going to cause damage to any wood on your home or on your property. The most common wood-destroying insects that we have are going to be carpenter ants and powder post beetles. You'll also see carpenter bees in the summertime boring into wood, soffits, eaves, and stuff of the home. Some broader examples would be termites. Most of the time it is carpenter ants around here. We don't see termites often. Maybe just a couple times a year we'll run into termites, but it's not something that you're typically going to see around here. Worst case scenario when it comes to wood-destroying insects is going to be structural integrity. People have had to get their house jacked up and beams replaced. Old houses will have big wood log beams that support the house. You'll touch those and they'll actually just start to disintegrate and fall apart. And at that point, your house structure is compromised. So you're just looking at thousands of dollars worth of expenses to get that stuff fixed. Moisture is going to be a big drawing point to carpenter ants and powder post beetles. Any moist wood they can get in there, it makes burrowing, chewing, excavating that wood that much easier. As far as carpenter bees go, unfinished or unpainted, unstained wood, they'll use any of that untreated wood to get up into. Some examples where you might see powder post beetles would be in old barns, because that wood a lot of times will hold moisture. It's easy for them to get into. You'll also see carpenter ants in barns and things like that. Another common place for those two things will be in joists and basements, because a lot of times around that foundation, that wood around the foundation, it'll actually hold moisture. One other area you might see carpenter ants is just going to be in soffits or beams on the outside of the house, because a lot of times when you have paint and stuff that chips away, that moisture gets in there and it'll start to fill that wood, making it easier for pests to get into. I'd consider it to be an infestation for carpenter ants when you continually start to see them in and around the house. If you're seeing them frequently, there's going to be a nest somewhere on or in your house. It may even just be a little bit away from your house. A lot of times you'll follow these ants back to a dead tree maybe. We'll trail them back and you'll see within probably 10 to 50 feet of the house there may be a dead tree, and that's actually where the ants are coming from, and then they're making their way into the house to forage, bring back food and water. And as far as powder post beetle goes, I'd consider that an infestation. When you start to actually see the frask, it actually looks like a very fine sawdust, which would be excrement and then just wood that they've used. As they're boring into that wood, you'll start to see the little pin-sized holes and stuff in the wood. Things that you can do to prevent against wood-destroying insects would be running a dehumidifier in the basement or any areas of the home where you may have moisture, and just painting or sealing any of the wood in the basement, in the foundations, in barns. Just doing that just makes them harder to get into the wood. If you do have wood piles around the home or around sheds, it is wise just to move those away from the house. It'll just keep any wood-destroying insects or pests that may be attracted to that wood and the moisture that it holds away from the house rather than right up against your structure. So what we do for treatments for carpenter ants is we can come out, we can apply a preventative barrier around the exterior of the home. If you were to have carpenter ants inside, we'd be more than happy to come inside, find out where they're sourcing from. Like I said, a lot of times that is going to be from the outside, so we're going to find that source. As far as powder post beetle treatments go, we'll come out, we'll inspect everything, and then if you decide to go ahead with treatment, we'll treat the wood with a product that actually seals the wood, so as anything, whether it be powder post beetles or any wood destroying insects come in contact with that wood and chew on it, it'll take care of the issue. But it can get so bad sometimes where you touch that wood and the wood just starts falling apart. At that point, there's only so much we can do. We can provide treatment, but you're going to have to bring in a structural engineer to come take a look at everything and see if the whole entire structure is compromised. And at that point, you're going to be looking at engineers, contractors, different things like that in order to get the issue resolved. Whether it's reactive or proactive, if you need our help on anything at all, feel free to give us a call. We'd be more than welcome to answer any questions you might have. But if you can take away anything, it's to keep those wood-destroying insects out and off of your property.
So remember, when it comes to pest control, a stitch in time saves 9. The sooner you get the issue handled, the better it will be for both your financial and personal well-being. If that's not easy enough to remember, how about you find a pest, we'll do the rest at Town & Country Pest Solutions. If you liked this episode, check out the time we found a horde of carpenter ants nesting in insulation spray foam. As always, I'm Matt Miller, and we'll catch you at the next job.